باقي بنسنس on the way رفيق بس كمل okay guys. So today it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Avijit. Avijit has actually a story. I don't know if you're going to get time to talk about your story, but if so, it would be a big plus. If not, you can Google. There are some articles written about it. Has an interesting story coming from India, going into the marketing industry, from the marketing industry going into shopping centers, from Dubai, Toronto, until finally coming back to Kuwait, and running as the CEO of Tamdeen Mall Management. There are a lot of malls that we've seen all around the world. We've seen malls in the US, we've seen malls in Asia. Middle East malls stand out. Middle Eastern malls stand out. If you come to Kuwait, if you want to say unique malls that stand out, nobody would open a discussion without bringing Ibn Tari and 360, without mentioning the 360 mall. Okay? So Tamdeen Mall Management is in charge of 360 Mall. It's in charge of the new outlet mall that's opening up when, Jama'ah? It's in charge of the SEMA malls. There's a lot of small SEMA malls. You find them copy paste. They're pretty similar all around. شنو بعد رزاق؟ اي واحد؟ الكوت. يعني حق كل اهل الشاليهات فتره كبيره كان يجمع الكوت. زين؟ So we're very lucky to have Mr. Avijit to come here and talk about it. He's going to give you, from what I understand, a brief of what makes a successful model. Flash 360 did a good job. We're not going to name other malls. Other malls didn't really do well. Okay? What's the mix about? What makes these work? I went through the whole book. You won't find whatever he's going to say today in those textbooks. I'd like you to give a warm welcome to Mr. Avijit, and I'll let you take the floor.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today, and we have a short time. I'm going to try my best to get as much across to you in this short, 45 minutes or so. So I'm not going to spend too much time in terms of, going through a lot of theory and all. We'll go through some stuff very quickly, and then we'll go through the case study of 360 Mall, and then if we have time, some other international malls. Yeah, right? So the essential question is, what makes a successful mall? When I met Professor Suleiman, he said he had a long list of things. I said, okay, there's one question that we only need to answer. What makes a mall successful? So we'll try and go through that with you, but I want to ask you one question before we start. Ask yourself this question: what makes people want to go to certain places and not to others? You're all people, you go to places, right? You go to places, you go to malls, you go to other places. What makes you decide to go to one place and not to another place? Look at all these. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? You can go to a shopping mall, you can go to a hotel, you can go to a museum, you can go to a coffee shop. What makes you decide to go to one as against the other? It's a very common thing we do every day. Please.
That's crowded. That's crowded.
Not crowded. Okay, that's a point. Anything else somebody you say?
Easy parking.
Easy parking. Okay. Yeah. Good location. Right? These are all very. If you see where the answers are coming from, they are very functional. Convenience oriented, that it must be convenient. I should be able to park. I should not have crowds over there. But there are other very important reasons why you decide to go to one place and not another place. You can ask yourself in depth. Yes, please. You have everything that you need. So you go there. You were saying something?
You think the satisfaction that gives me?
The satisfaction that you get. That's a very, very important point you mentioned. All of us have emotional connections with places. So it's very important to build these emotional connections with places. How do you build an emotional connection? It's a fine art. It's not easy to build an emotional connection, right? It's very easy to get a big building made. It's very easy to get a mall done. But you'll find, you talk to people, they say, there is this little place I know in the back of beyond in Shuaik. It's a small place, we all go there to have a cup of coffee. It's a very bad You'll find very bad parking over there. You'll find a terrible fit out, but you like to go there. Why? If you go to a city, you like one city. Like you go to Paris, some people say, I like Paris, I don't like London. Why? Why do you like one city as against the other? Build this emotional connection, right? This emotional connection is very, very important when we build bonds. It's one of the fundamental things that people have an emotional connection. When we ask people, when we built 360, we asked, especially Kuwaiti, young Kuwaiti women, like a lot of yourself here, what is it about 360 that makes you want to come here? So they came out with an answer which we really could not understand. They said it's very cozy. What is cozy? So, we went deeper. It had all those things. It's not crowded. I have more space. I like to meet here with my friends. And it's secluded. It's not like if the whole world, you go to avenues, the whole world is watching you. Right? So, there was a reason why people preferred that as against, not to say that avenue is not successful. It's a very successful one. So, every place you go to, you always find that there is a reason that you want to go to this. Now, I want to ask all of you a question. Do you have any favorite places? You have places where you say, this is my favorite place. I like to go to this place. You don't have any, I'm sure you go out in places, either malls or, other places. Does anybody have a favorite place? Do you want to tell me? Yeah? Yes. Okay.
It's a very cozy place, very feeling. It's small, that's just very good. It's just very calm.
It makes you feel good when you're there. It makes you feel good when you're there.
Yes.
Anybody else has any favorite places? Anybody? Okay, let me tell you about myself. Because you're not going to tell me about favorite places. Like, I'll tell you, I traveled a lot around the world, but Amsterdam is my favorite area. Why? I cannot explain. Very difficult. It's got the light blue color, it's got a buzz, you see people, it's a great connection in Europe. I love to go to Amsterdam. Right? I've lived in many cities around the world. I grew up, when I was young, I studied in Paris. I was, I lived very close to the Champs-Elysees. And you would expect that I would think Paris is a city that I love. I don't. I like Amsterdam more. I spent 4 years in Toronto. I visited all the cities in Canada, but I still like Toronto better than the other cities. There are reasons for that, right? In our own minds, we build what we call great places. We build what we call great places in our minds, all of us. We have this concept in the mind that this is my favorite place, this is a great place, this is where I want to go, right? So I want to show you some quick images. In this picture over here, can you tell me where the mall is? City, I'm assuming most of us have been to. Oh, this is China. This is Shanghai. In these buildings, can you point out where the mall is? They all look very similar. Sorry?
The one behind the park?
The one behind the park?
Yeah.
The mall over here is under the park. Right? So, when somebody was looking at this plot of land, they said the whole place is concrete structure. You need to build a park and you need to build a mall. So they put the mall under the park. Right? It's one of the places which has helped the city, and it has become a great place for people to go to because they like to go to parks. People always like to go to parks. Right? One of my favorite places in Kuwait is Shahid Park. I love going to Shahid Park in the winters. It's beautiful. You see people, you can walk around, it's open spaces, so it's a great place. You look at this mall, this is a mall in North America. Why do you have to create this beautiful architectural facade? All the shops are inside. Why do we create this? Because at the time when you're coming to this mall, there's a certain feeling we want to create amongst people. When you come there, you need to feel good. You need to see the lights, you need to see a beautiful facade, you need to see all the shops, you need to see these awnings. And then you feel, okay, I'm coming to a place where I want to be. So it's very important when we look at malls to create places where people want to be. This is the inside of it. Beautiful shops. Again, a lot of time and energy spent in creating the inside of the mall, the flooring, the kind of shops, the storefronts, to make people want to be around in those places. So one of the jobs that we do is we create places where we want people to be there, not for today, not for the next 1 year, but for the next 50 years. The life of a mall is around 50 years. How do you create a place where people want to come for 50 years? That is the challenge about building a great mall, right? So just, like when I was discussing with Professor Suleiman, he was saying, is it the anchors? I said, all those are important. But you have to start with something much more basic than that, which you will come to. But it's something very much more basic than that. Look at the shop. It's won an international award. It's very minimalistic. But if you get a chance to see the shop, it's in, I think, New York. There's a building, and this shop is jutting out of that like it's a pie which is stuck into the building. So again, it creates this whole feeling that this is something very unique, very different, very minimalistic. So people will go to the shop. You'll be wondering where is all the merchandise, but it is there somewhere inside. But people go to great places. They don't necessarily only go for merchandise. They don't necessarily only go. Merchandise is very important, but the place is also very important. It's another place. This is a mall, which is an indoor-outdoor mall in the United States. If you see, these are buildings. Between buildings, there's a lot of energy, a lot of people. So we have found that when you build malls, people want to be inside. But when you put them inside, they want to be outside. When you put them outside, they want to be inside. So we always try and create places which have this inside-outside, right? So you feel, and there's a mall in Turkey which has done a great job. It goes through some of those images, where you are able to create a place where people feel very good. When people feel good, what do?
They spend money.
They spend money. Yeah. So we spend a lot of money in creating a feeling so that people feel good and then they spend. So this is very important in our business. So, they would like to buy an ice cream, they would like to see other people, they would like to be inside, they would like to be outside, they like the greenery. Malls are no longer buildings which have collections of shops. That time is long gone. And if you see the historical evolution of malls, you will see that it's no longer okay to build a mall and just put shops inside. Unless you have a lot of shops like the avenues, where you have the width and the depth. Then I have to go to the shop. So I will go. Whether I like the place, I don't like the place, I don't like the parking, it's inconvenient to park, but I will still go because I have to shop. Right? It is being challenged by people like Amazon, but there is a possibility of still getting business. This is a mall, this is a area. So we no longer, like if you see malls today, they have hotels inside, they have so many other uses. We no longer just look at malls as places of shopping. We look at malls as places where the community meets, where you're able to do everything that you want to do. You can meet your friends, you can shop, you can go to a hotel, you can go to the hospital. Now there are hospitals inside mall. If you go to Dubai Mall, I don't know if you know, there's a hospital inside Dubai Mall, right? Yeah. So there are hotels inside malls. There are clinics inside malls. There are spas inside malls. So it's no longer a place where you just go to shop. Shopping malls are not shopping malls. There are places where people gather and they live their lives when they don't want to be at home. It's the third place. Right? So when this was being constructed in the States, they had to build these blocks. This was an area which they thought they were going to build, and then they decided to make a park because they said whoever is going to be here, we need to have a park. You can say this is a great loss of revenue because they're going to build a building, but people will not stay here if they don't have these amenities. Right? So these are things that are now getting into. So the developer took a big decision saying that this piece of land is going to be a park. Malls are doing that. There's a mall in Turkey which has got a long racetrack only for animals. So you can come, you can bring your dog, you can go for a walk with your dog. You can leave your dog over there, you can go inside the mall. There are parks where your children can play. So everything that people want when they go out in addition to shopping, is now being built into malls. And you look at 360 as a case study as we do. This is one of the latest malls in the United States, called the Mall of America. It's one of the largest malls in the world. And if you look at this interior of the mall, you can easily confuse this with the interior of a hotel. Because people are expecting that now. They don't want to go to a mall which is a dirty mall, which is, very plain inside. They want to have a great environment itself. So this is, when you look at this, you feel that this is actually inside a hotel and not a mall. So coming to what we're saying is that if you are building a mall and you're going to put in 100 million plus KD, and this mall is going to be there for the next 50 years, then you need to build a great place. There is a company in America which is called Isaac Ham, and they actually coined this term many years ago. They said when we build great places, and we didn't build. And that was one of the inspirations for us at 360 Mall. When we were building 360 Mall, we said we have to build great places. And if you don't build a great place which has got the stamina and the longevity to last at least 10 years, because then you have to sort of change it again, you will lose customers. Because why? Competition will build something. Somebody else will build something else, and you will not really be a place where people will want to come. Even though you might have good shops, the mall can replicate shops in another mall, right? But why will I go to this mall and not that mall? Why will I go to Cartier in 360 Mall and not Cartier in Avenues? All these things play a very important role in deciding how to build a great place. So we, from our point of view, call it a great place, and from the customer's point of view, they call it their favorite place. So there is a concept that we try and keep when we do research. We ask customers, what is your favorite mall? Most customers will have a favorite mall, and then they'll have 2 or 3 other malls they go to. So we try and always see if we can get into our target audience, this mind, as the favorite mall. And the starting point for that is always design. When you start building a mall, you have to really think of the design very carefully, right? If you go wrong at the design stage, then you run into a very big problem once the mall is done, right? And an example of that are malls which have an atrium in the center, like Amara. And if you see, the shops are on the side. So if you're shopping in Amara on level 1, and you're at a shop where the shop is on your left hand side.
I want to note on this, guys, because this was very interesting. Mr. Abi informed me about it, and I never thought about it previously. He says, why do you think that the layout of Al-Hamra Mall is not correct? And I kept thinking about it, and I couldn't find an answer. And then he brought this. Why, Mr. Abi? Why? What's the alternative to how they laid it out?
A mall should be the maximum around 20 to 25 meters between the shops. Because customers, they go like this. They go like a crazy ball. You're in this shop, now you're thinking you're walking, you see another shop, you're in that shop, so they go in a zigzag kind of a way. But if you're going to put the customer on one side of the mall, the shop's only on the left-hand side, and then I'm looking on the other side, I see a shop far away, I'm not going to be able to reach that shop. This is how customers shop. So, even in planning a mall, you are trying to put the customer in the proximity of the storefront. Because the storefront attracts you. You see something, then you want to go inside the store. When you're inside the store, you start thinking of something else. When you come out, you're here, you have a field of view, you see a couple of shops. You decide to go into the shop, you might go back, you might go forward. But this is how customers behave. They go to the mall to buy bread, and they come back with a music system. Because that's how their minds are working. This is really fundamental to our business. You must make sure that once you come, when you are going to, let us say, Harvey Nichols, you cross at least 50 shops which you might shop at. So you always put these large anchors at the end of this. So this is the same problem in our city. Yes, you're on one side, the shop is on the other side. So you'll finish your shopping here and then you'll go to the other side. So these are layout problems. They are serious problems, but again, this is one of the design problems that, a mall can make a mistake like this because of a footprint, they have no option. They have to go with this option because they might be thinking they want to do that, but they cannot because the plot area is very small. Yeah.
But 360 also had, so unlike Avenues was brilliant.
Yes.
You realize when you shop in Avenues, guys, you do the ping pong game. You go to this store, and then which store do you go to? You definitely go to the store on the other side of the aisle. 360 Mall, they gave you a unique plot of land, Avi. It was a circle.
Yes.
So it's not a good layout, is that right?
It's a very bad level.
It's a very bad layout. And how did you solve that?
Well, we go to the best architects in the world, the company called CRTPM, and we give them the challenge, and then they come out with solutions. This is a solution to your problem. Like Alpoof is the same problem. It's a triangular piece of land, very small. So the solution was that you have to put the car park in the center and build the shops around it. Right?
Yeah.
So, there are solutions, architectural solutions to these kind of problems. But, you can, there's always a solution. So the first stage of designing a mall is design. Circulation. You look at the exterior, you look at the interior. When you come to 360 Mall, you see a lot of fountains, right? Have you been to 360 Mall? Yes. When you arrive, there are a lot of fountains over there. Right? There are around 46 fountains. There are around 300 plus palm trees. None of this is on our land. This is on the government land. But it was very important for us to create a sense of arrival. When you arrive in a competing mall, you arrive with a block of building, you go into a car park. It's not such a great arrival, right? So arrival is very important. So we spend a lot of money on things like arrival. If you see the building, it has got a lighting design in it. It could have been a plain building. It was very important that at night this building has to shine from the highway. So people should see this as an architectural piece rather than an eyesore. You have a plain building. You look at all the buildings. I was driving here, looking at the buildings here. They're all very beautifully designed from the outside. Why? Because people need to feel good about these buildings. So we do the same thing with our malls. When you arrive, design is very important. Can you think of what is the next most important thing after design?
Entrance.
Entrance, okay. That all comes as part of the design.
Okay.
The entrance, the layout, the building, the access, the egress from the building, that's all part of the design. The circulation inside, very, very critical. How do you get from the ground level to the upper level?
The brand.
The brands, the retail. You don't have a mall if you don't have brands. So you put in brands, the retail uses. Now you can have different retail uses. You can have fashion, you can have food, you can have entertainment. These are the three basic things. What more can you have? Sorry? Services, right? Banking services. What else can you have? You can have a supermarket. That's also a retail use. Anything else you can think about in a mall?
Something from like cinema or games.
Sorry?
Something like for cinema or games.
Like cinema and games, but that all comes in entertainment. So entertainment, food, retail is done. What else can you put into a mall? What would you as a customer want to do?
Gym.
A gym, very good. Put in gyms into malls because people are so much into health and fitness, they love going to gyms. So malls have 360, I don't know if you know, we have got 2 gyms in 360 mall. One is a French gym, which is high-end, and then you have a fitness fest. So we have 2 gyms. What else can you put? You can put offices because people like to live, work, and play in the same place. You can put offices. Anything else you can put into a gym? You can put in wellness. A hotel, very good. You can put in leisure. You can put in wellness. You can put in clinics. You can put in dental clinics. You can put in many other things. So in addition to retail uses, customers want other uses because it makes their life, what you said in the beginning, very convenient. If I'm going to the mall, I will go to the gym. And if I have an appointment with my doctor, I can meet him at the mall itself. So the mall becomes like a community gathering place. You don't have to go to many places. Yes. Yes. That's a very good point. That if you have a hospital in a mall, people will think negatively about it. It's hidden. You will never see it in the main circulation. You will have to go to level 8 into the mall in the car park, and you can access the hospital from there. But it is there. I know it is there. But I'll never see it when I'm in good spirits and I'm going for shopping. I will never see the hospital over there. It's a very good South African hospital called Mediclinic. Very, very popular. Does really well, but it's very not visible to people. So you will take, for example, these uses and put them in places where customers will make the effort to go. So this goes into the design, again the design. I will never put the hospital in the middle of the mall because it's, again, as you said, people will look at it very. There is a saying you should never put a bank in the mall.
Why is it?
Because customers don't like it, but that is changing. Customers want to do their banking in the mall also, right? So now a lot of digital banks are coming into the mall. If you go there, it's a digital bank, and you are able to do everything digitally over there. So banks are coming into this. So there are other uses. So malls are expanding, coming. This is what we call as a format, a mixed use format. It's not just only shops. You've got mix of uses. You will have gym, you will have sports, you will have a hospital, you will have a clinic, so it's a mixed use. This is now very, very popular, and customers are looking for this. There's another thing people want, not maybe in Kuwait, but in other places. They want a subway station in the mall. They want a transit location. So if you go to North America, if you go to even Dubai now, Mall of the Emirates, the Dubai Mall has got a subway station. It's attached to the mall. It makes it very convenient to come to the mall and leave the mall. Right? So transit is another use which is going to the west. Convenience. This is the first thing you had mentioned. That we need to have conveniences. Right? So I should be able to do my laundry. I should be able to do my, if I want to go to a tailor for stitching. So you'll find all these uses in the basements of this, in front of the supermarket. You want to repair a camera, you want to take a picture, for your passport. You want to get health, supplements. You find them in the basement of malls in front of the supermarket. Because these are very important. You need these for your day-to-day living. You need to sort of go and do all these things. So you'll find them in the mall in the basement. And the last thing is experiences. You need to build experiences into malls which make people feel happy. You find more and more into malls now, people are bringing in art. Right? Why do you bring art into malls? Because art is something which liberates the people, human beings. They are very, art plays a role which is very different from science. It makes you feel fulfilled, makes you, escape into another area. You'll find if you go to the Mall of the Emirates today, they've taken a very deep area, which would be difficult indeed, so they made it into a transitional art gallery. It's, so when they have National Day, they have a lot about the culture of, the UAE. If you go, it's another country like Saudi Arabia having its National Day or Kuwait having a National Day, they give them space. And people do exhibitions, they have a free will to experiment with, art in jewelry, art in painting. So all these things are coming into Pakistan because people really love art and other experiences. You can bring experiences, you can bring sports into this.
Professor Salah, 360. Where is the art 360?
So we don't have it, but we have built it into the design. I'll talk about it.
Oh, you will talk about it?
Yes, we have built it into the design itself. So I always say when you're building, we're putting in 100 million plus KD, you have to get the design right. Places like Hamra, there are other places I know they get the design wrong. It's then very difficult to correct that mistake. If you're going to make me come into a mall and then if you're going to make me walk long distances, people don't like to walk more than around 100 meters. Right? Maximum. Then they want a small break. So if you see good malls at every 100 meters, they will put some F&B. Why? Because you want to take a break. So these are all scientific things we see. If you go into an IKEA, they will make sure you do the whole circle.
Yes.
Right? They will make sure, I don't know if you know, any of you shop in IKEA? Here?
Well, question, guys. Who actually went to IKEA? Physically went to IKEA to buy something over there? Okay, so most of you guys.
You know what they do in IKEA? You have to follow a route, right? You can't get on the route very easily. You have to cross everything. You have to cross the kitchen, you have to cross the bedroom, you have to cross everything. And every place you're going through, you're thinking about your own life. And all along this path, what they do, they put these big bins with very cheap merchandise. 500 fills, 250 fills. Why? Because every time you're looking at this as you're walking, you're thinking this is a very cheap place. When you come to the bedroom and you see a bed, you think this is very cheap. Because you all the time been thinking, they've been conditioning you to think that this is very cheap. Very cheap, very cheap, very cheap, very cheap. When you come and see a cupboard for 1,000, you say this is very cheap. And you buy. So we condition. Even in the malls, you find now that every around 200 steps or so, you find something free. Because that's how people are. They know the shop, they know the team. So these things go into design. Yes.
Because a lot of people say electronics with design. One example you take note of construction. Like, there are people for construction and there are non-management. So,
In the end, but we are involved in the whole process.
but I mean, when do you must take over and close the opening because I think the opening is very important. The beginning. Like one example you would take.
We actually get involved at the design stage because sometimes designers they don't know whether this is going to, I mean they look at it from a design point of view, not from an operational point of view. So we get into it at the design stage itself, saying this design is not going to work. We are giving feedback all the time from probably around 3 years before the mall opens. We are involved with the design team, saying this loading dock will not work, or this circulation pattern is going to become a problem here, or you cannot put wood next to water. It's going to be an operational problem. So we get involved 3 years, but approximately, I would say 3 months before the mall opens, we start taking over things. We'll take over the docks, we'll take over certain areas, we'll start taking over from the people. It's around 3 months before. This is a very, very important statement made by a consultant. His name is Ibrahim. He is based out of London. He's written a book. If you're interested in retail and real estate, you must read his book. It's called Future Retail Ready. It's around 8 KD on Amazon. I can tell Professor Sulaiman, I can send you a picture of the book.
I'll share it on the.
It's a really good book. It's called Future Retail Ready. This gentleman is really one of the forward thinkers on retail and real estate. And this statement he makes is something very, very important. It's about people and places, not about buildings and spaces. Buildings and spaces is just the unemotional part of it. You have to make sure you create a sense of place. You have to make sure that people are able to integrate into it and they feel comfortable in it, they feel cozy in it, and they feel this is a place I'm going to come to. So again, I repeat, people and places, not buildings and spaces. Malls are now becoming more about people and places, about a community, about a place where the community wants to come. Right? This is a very important, please keep this in mind. 360 Mall, this is our mantra we live by. We build great places, we try and create exceptional experiences, and that results in sales for our tenants. So if you don't build the first part, if you don't build a great place, if you don't create these experiences, retailers might have sales today, tomorrow, maybe for a year, but over a period of time, sales will come down. Today, 360 Mall is amongst the top 20 malls in the world in terms of sales performance. Can you imagine? Kuwait is not really a very evolved place in terms of retail and shopping malls, but it's a very productive place. 360 Mall last year won a gold award for its expansion. It competed with malls from around the world. And it got a gold award for design, for refurbishment and expansion. So, I think as long as you are focused and your vision is clear that you're going to build a great place, you can compete with anybody in the world. Right? So this is what we do. Very quickly, before we go to some case studies, I want to tell you this is how malls evolved. In the good old days, hundreds of years ago, there were bazaars. Merchants used to come to the bazaar and then used to shop in the bazaar. Town squares. Then in the 50s, after World War II, malls started in America. Why? Because the war was over. Cities were expanding outside. Mr. Ford was building the car. The car used to take you outside. It was very convenient. So that people began to live outside the city. When they began to live outside the city, they wanted shopping. There was a lot of land in America. So they built these big boxes. One big anchor here, one big anchor here, and shops in. That was the mall in the 50s. A year after that, people said, okay, I'm coming to this mall, but I also want washrooms. I also want parking. I also want this, I also want that. So experiences and amenities began to grow. Then people said, I want outdoor malls. I don't want to be inside in the good weather. Why am I inside? I should be outside. So malls began to open up to the outside. We found shops opening up to the outside. Right? And then what I'm telling you now, mixed use. People want everything inside the mall. So this is in a very simple way how malls have evolved from the bazaars. We still have all these. We still have bazaars. We still have those malls. Still have all this. But because of this, there were many formats of malls that came out. These are some of the formats. Right? I will give this slides to Mr. Sulaiman. You can share it with you. But in the beginning, there was what we call a strip center. 6 shops and parking in front. So that was the mall. Right? And then you had a regional shopping center, which is like 360 mall. A regional shopping center is around 40,000 square meters. Then you had a super regional center, which is around 80,000 square meters. Right? 360 place is around 120,000 square meters. Then you had community centers, small malls, which are close to your community. There is a supermarket. There is the shop for children's uniforms. There are going to be restaurants and small things like that. There's a small gym maybe. So then it became a community center around 30,000 square meters. Then there is a neighborhood center. There's a building and below that there are 10, 15 shops. Then there's a power center. Power center is like you put 4 or 5 big shops like Walmart. You put one big cinema. You put another big box and a couple of shops around it. So that was called a power center, around 550,000 square meters. Then you have fashion centers, only fashion stores, right? So there are some places, locations where people want to only shop for fashion. And then came lifestyle. People are talking about lifestyle, right? I want to have a good lifestyle. So I want to shop for furniture. I want to shop for fashion. I want to have a very good high-end supermarket. So there were lifestyle centers that came in. Then you had entertainment centers, only entertainment. Then you had outlet shopping malls. And then you had mega malls. In China, you have malls which are 700,000 square meters. Right? Really huge malls. And then you have hybrids. You can mix and match all these formats depending on what the customer wants. So there are many, many, many types of malls. You have to decide which one you want to build. How to decide? Which mall should I build? Should we have built 360 mall in Jara? I don't think we can succeed if you are in there's a concept like 360.
I'm assuming you're saying in terms of purchasing power.
And the target market, maybe.
Your target market and purchasing power. Who is 80% of the mall's shopping comes within 5 to 10 miles.
Oh.
80%. A customer will not cross a mall and go to another mall. Kuwait is a little unique because we have only a few malls. But you find that there is almost 100% duplication between 360 customers and Avenues customers. They go to Avenue as well as 360. But most places people don't do that. They have a mall which is convenient for them close, right? So we have to decide how to build a mall. I will quickly go through this because we don't want to be short on time. You look at your catchment area, which is the area around your mall where you're going to build your mall. You look at the topography. You don't want to build a mall where between you and your mall there is a mountain. People don't even cross highways. They do not cross rivers to go to a mall. They want a mall on this side. This is just psychology, the way they do things. You look at the environmental impact, you look at the competitive analysis. No point in building a big mall next to avenues. It's already there. So if I have a plot of land next to avenues, I might as well build something else. Why will I build a mall? So you look at competitive analysis, you look at the consumer analysis. If I am, let us say, in like now we are building the outlet center in the south of Kuwait. Why? We have done a lot of research. All future development is happening in the south of Kuwait. Cities are coming up, infrastructure is coming up. All the Saudis who come in, they come in from there, on that road. So we are saying we are building the south of Kuwait. We have a plot of land over there. We have a good commercial piece of land. This is where the future is. So you always build to the future. You don't build to today. If you build to today, you are surefire going to fail. And you see where the city is going, where the growth is in the cities, and then you build accordingly. How do you go about building a mall? This is the question you had asked.
So always been for the future.
Yes.
So is it possible to build a model how it's expanding in the future? Like this expanding. Why?
It is vital. It is vital to keep, like if you have a piece of land into this size, build in this condition. Because you don't know what you have to do in the future. If avenues did not have the ability to expand to phase 3 and 4, it would not be successful. You need to have that. So most places when they build lands, they're always buying land around and keeping it. They call it parcels of land which they for the future development. Because things will change, customers will change, requirements will change. Some malls who don't have that, they build their mall for 20 years, they demolish it and they build it again. Because time is up, you don't have any space. So, it's very important to have that flexibility. So when you start off, you start thinking of development. How will once you've decided, you've done the last analysis, you say, I'm going to build. You start thinking, what am I going to build? You start doing a rough budget, you start doing this analysis, you've already done the analysis that there is a customer, there is scope, I'm going to build. You start getting a concept. Should it be a luxury mall? Should it be a mid-level mall? Should it be an outlet mall? Should it be a mixed-use mall? So that whole analysis is done to see what is going to be most relevant to the customer and where I'm going to get the maximum money in terms of return. Then you go to the concept plan. All this takes time. This whole process takes around 2 years, 2 to 3 years. In America, once they decide to build a mall, until the time they start, around 8 to 10 years pass. Because their approvals are very difficult. So it's not like a mall is coming up today. There's a lot of work which is being going on. This outlet mall we are going to open next year. Yeah. 6 years from the date we started.
6 years from the date we started construction.
No, 6 years from the date we started thinking what we are going to do. We did research with Ernst & Young, we did research with PwC.
Yeah.
We went around to other parts of the world, looked ourselves, came back. Then we came out with concepts. We changed the concept. We did a research again. We sat with the architects.
It wasn't. It's the idea of an outlet mall wasn't idea number one. Is that right?
Idea number one was outlet.
It was outlet.
Then idea number 2 we came to was hybrid outlet. Hybrid is an outlet mall,
Yeah.
which has got a very strong entertainment, very strong F&B, very strong leisure
Okay.
component. Outlet malls, if you go and see, they are around 30,000, 20,000 square meters. This is 70,000 square meters. But it has got around 249 stores. It has got a lot of, it's a different format of an outlet. If you were to research it and look at malls in the States, they are called the Mills malls from Simon Property Group. They are really successful. They are a mix of outlet and non-outlet. So many other uses in addition to outlet. Right? Then you come out with another level of design, and a detailed design, and then you start building. This process alone can take up to 3 years. From here to here, it will take around 3 years. You say, okay, now I'm ready, I'm clear, I'm going to build. And then you build them up. So, to the question you asked, real estate is a living organism. It's always changing. So, once I have the building, I can keep changing the stores inside, I can keep changing the amenities. I'll give you more facilities, I'll give you more things, I will add on a food hall here, I'll add some food there, I will change something inside. But major change happens once in around 15-20 years. Like it happened in 360. So you have to constantly see what are the needs of your people who are around you. You have to keep looking at that. And we did that in 360, which we look at the case study, and that's what made us change. right? So this was a little bit about malls. Let me just take you through the 360 case study, which is so quickly speaking, how the 360 brand evolved. We launched in 2009 in the middle of a recession. Right? This is what 360 looks like. It is 80,000 square meter mall, 168 stores, and today it does around $1,300 a square foot in terms of sales. How much do you think? What does that mean approximately? I done the calculation in dollars. It's difficult for me to do it now, but I want to ask you, how much do you think Avenues does per square unit?
Okay, I'll ask the question. Is it per square of leased or of the whole leased? Of leased, yes.
Avenues does around $500 a square foot. How much do you think Mall of the Emirates does in Dubai? Mall of the Emirates is among the top 5-6 malls in India. It does around $2,000 a square foot. Right? So when you compare Mall of the Emirates and you compare 360 Mall, the Mall of the Emirates is in a place like Dubai, which has got so much of footfall and tourism, etc. And I'm in Kuwait, and my entire business is coming from Kuwaiti nationals who are living there. I'm doing a very good job at $1,300 a square foot. Right? When we build the building, the trees, the fountains, the design, the lighting in the building, the chimney chandelier, you will not find this in malls. This chandelier costs around $500,000. Right? You have carpets in the mall. You have Italian marble. So when this mall was built, the vision of the owner was that I want to build a hotel which is a mall. So this is how this mall came out. It's a small mall. Right? This is the main atrium. It is inspired. It's a very modern Arabic design. It's very modern, but it's very Arabic. These wooden columns that you find, these designs that you see over here, these kind of curves, this is all inspired from these carpets, these Italian sofas, these columns that you see, they were painted by artists from Italy. They're the same original paint 13 and a half years ago. Nothing has changed because the quality that was put into this mall is really high. So we said if you're going to compete with Avenues for us is a 500-pound gorilla. He's sitting there, he can do whatever he likes. He's got around 1,200 stores, right? He can do whatever he wants. Today, when you go to Avenues at any time, you'll find 50 or 60 things. You will not even notice them because there are 1,200 stores, right? But for us to compete with that, they had the mass. He said we have to have the class. And we have to compete with the Avenues. So we did all that. You see, there are green walls over here. These green walls, they've been designed by Patrick Blanc. He's an artist from France, and he is the only guy we know who doesn't have a cell phone. Doesn't have a cell phone. He's an artist. He doesn't communicate with anybody. You have to find this guy and get him here. These walls, when we started off in 360 were these vertical garden walls were around 32,000 plants and 1,300 species of plants. Right? In Kuwait, where the weather is very harsh, this is a design we built into the mall. People like this. They put in cafes over there, so people come and they want to hang around these cafes. They like the greenery. And if you go there, you'll find our whole audience, Kuwaitis. Mostly 95% of the people in these gardens are Kuwaitis. They like the gardens, they like the cafes, and they are of a certain age group. When I was talking to our chairman, he says, I feel myself out of place because the audience is much younger. They like this place. They like to sort of come here and this is the original mall. This is the new mall. This is the connection. If you see the landscaping all around, this is all landscape. There's approximately 50,000 square meters of landscaping, which we are doing because we want people when they come to this mall to feel that they are arriving at a place which is green, which is nice, which is gives you a good feeling. And there are two car parks over there. In all Tamdeen group malls, you find that the ceiling is always glass because customer wants sunlight. If you go to avenues, you don't have glass. You look up, there's no glass. So this is so expensive, we cannot take it. But it's very important for the customer. They want direct sunlight. So in the design stages itself, we build everything into the sunlight. So you don't have to worry about the staging. Customers will always want the sunlight. So build it into the design. Customers always like greenery. Build greenery into the project. Right? People like art. Make it very artistic in terms of design. So the building itself is nice. And then we took this and we continued this into the new part of the mall. Again, glass ceiling, low, so that people feel, but it's got a more outdoorsy feel. Right? Now the colors don't look very nice here, but it's really bright blue sky. Right? Again, we're trying to build in design and art into the mall. So that these curves that you see. If you go to the 360 mall, and a lot of you might know that these malls need to be air conditioned, right? There is always equipment on top above the ceiling. In the gardens, there is this undulating kind of a flowing ceiling. Our chairman did not let us put in an access path to access the equipment. He says, no, I don't want the customer to feel that there's any break in the design. So whenever there is a leak in an AC or something, we cut the ceiling, we repair it, we build the ceiling again. So these small things that you do are really important in terms of customers having this feeling of how they feel about the place. And then what we did was, these are some of the shots in the expansion of the mall. We built our own food hall. This food hall actually we were wanting to build a food hall. We didn't have an idea. The operator from USA was not really making sense financially. This was an idea one of our owners, Abu Marzouk, had. He said, we are going to build a food hall only of Kuwaiti entrepreneurs. The Kuwaitis are really state of the art when it comes to food. So this food hall has only got Kuwaiti entrepreneurs, 32 Kuwaiti entrepreneurs. Right? It is a food hall designed in Kuwait, conceived in Kuwait, executed in Kuwait, nobody from outside. The food halls that you see in Europe, there people say go to Spain, go to Portugal, see the food halls. We treated our own food hall. It's really something quite spectacular. You have to go see it. But this is the food hall. Again, there's another chimney chandelier at the entrance of the arena. We built an arena into the mall. There's always, you need to have events and activities at malls, all the time, right? Because people, when they come, they see the same shops, same things, they get bored. So they want to see new events, new displays, new activities. We built this arena, multi-purpose arena, 5,100 seats, the biggest in Kuwait. Some of you may have experienced it. There are, music, sports.
Who's been to the arena? So it's been how many years since you opened it?
We opened and then we closed because of the pandemic, but it only started now actually in 2021.
So it's a very short time, and I think the majority have been there already.
A lot of people have gone there because why? Because you have to go and see the Disney show, you have to go and see the artists that you want to listen to in terms of music. This arena is one of our tenants. So we will always benefit from this tenant for the next 10-15 years because they will keep bringing events and activities. You will keep coming. When you come to see a 1 hour show, you spend around 4.5 hours in the room. What will you do? You will shop. You need food. You will be over there. You might go and stay. People who come to Kuwait now, they are doing shows, they stay in the hotel, the Grand Hyatt. Right? So we made the hotel as a part of the mall. The Rafa Nadal Academy is a highly successful academy. It's fully, we have around 16 tennis courts, we have got paddle courts, we have got squash courts. And truly, if you go around the GCC, you will not find a facility like this. I've gone in, before we were building this, I went to Qatar, went to Dubai, went to see all these facilities. This is by at least 100 miles ahead of anybody else in terms of quality of finishing. So we have now in our malls sports. 360 Mall is the first facility till Qatar started the World Cup. We were the only facility in the Middle East with a sports element. The only facility, first in the Middle East. So when we built 360 Mall in 2009, we had a small mall. It was a mall. Now we say that we are a lifestyle destination. You come to 360 for sports, for leisure, to the hotel, and for shopping. You can also have offices. There are so many. So we have repositioned ourselves from a mall to a lifestyle destination. It took us 13 years to do this. Now we are set for another 10, 12 years. Then we will see what happens after that. So the owner who owns this will have to start thinking now, what do I do 10 years from now? We might change something in this law. You might change, the customers might change. So we might change something. This is the terrace facility. It's absolutely beautiful. If you are another member, try and do that. And that's the hair. We also have the offices of the terrace federation over here. So what we've done is, we were a mall, and we have become this now. Kuwait Tennis Federation, Ravanakal, Mall, Arena, and the patio. So what we have done is, we have now created community amenities, world-class tennis, multi-purpose arena, 5-star hotel, ballroom, food hall, additional parking. So we have really expanded and said we are no longer a mall, we are a lifestyle destination. This is a place you should come. If you want the best of life, come to 360. This is what we are doing for the next 10 years. Right? I'm sorry, I spoke for a long time. There's a shortage of time. Thank you so much. If I can answer any questions or something, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yes. The upcoming projects, not with this. Upcoming project is the outlet mall, which is going to, give you outlet shopping of a very high quality, and it's going to give you a lot of entertainment and F&B and leisure. So, if you want to go out for a full day somewhere, you want to have a good time, you want to get very good, prices and brands, but you also want to have F&B. So that's the Al Khiran Mall. They're also building a mall called the Warehouse, which is between the 30 and the 40 in Savaiya. It's going to have the biggest IKEA in Kuwait. It is going to have a very big, another very big home store called Avijit, and it's going to have mid-level fashion shopping. So if you are going for home shopping, this will become a very good location. And if you're going for outlet shopping, you'll go to Kiran. If you're going for a lifestyle, you'll go to 360. If you're living in Ahmadi and you want to shop, you're going to go to. So we are geographically very well placed. Anybody? Yes.
How do you create such a balance throughout the whole? So if you have specific places for restaurants, specific places for fashion, places how do you define?
How do you do that?
Balance?
It's a quite a science. I'll tell you the operating principle. We need to keep the customer moving. We don't want the customer to stop, because if they stop, somebody suffers. So the best design for a shopping mall is a straight line like the avenues. But the avenues made some mistakes. It has got parallel malls, which is at the back of the avenue. The Prestige is beautiful, does very well now, because it's treated as a destination of luxury brands. But the simplest mall is a circle. It's like an elliptical kind of a thing. You are going to get into it, you will complete the circle when you come back. Right? The best way to design a mall is not make the customer turn back. He starts like this, she goes through the whole thing, she comes back, and so every shop benefits. So we try our best to do that, but there are limitations of land, limitations of maximizing the build. So these challenges the architects come out with. There's another challenge. How do you get customers to go from the ground floor to the first floor? They don't like to do it. I met a Kuwaiti lady after, I think, 7 years of 360 mall having been open, she had not gone to the mezzanine level. And she was telling me that you have to bring the shop down. I said, I can't. You have to go up. So she was telling me, why will I go up? I said, because there's an escalator here. It's very convenient. You can go up. She said, no, you will not go to the mezzanine level. Customers don't like to go up. So we have to make it attractive. So we put entertainment on top. We put food on top because they have to go up for entertainment and food. So it pushes them up. We put in strong anchors on the upper levels. So customers will be forced to come, right? So there are many things. Sometimes you cluster users. You say if you have gold, it's always good to put all gold shops together. Because the way ladies shop for gold is they like to compare. They like to go, But if you have luxury brands, you'll always find them together because they will never go away from each other. Luxury brands are very competitive. They will measure the size of the storefront of their competitor. They will make sure they're not less. So there are many, many things that go into it. I mean, I've given you just an overall view. There are many details that you go into when you sort of design a mall and, create a mall.
So we'll end the last question with Aziz, and then I just have one.
360 after 3 years changed one thing, but actually the start destination. And you said the average lifetime of the mall is 50 years.
50 years.
Yeah. So the terms of cost they changed the last 10 years. How often do you see more than 50% of the exchange? Or like a big
Generally, your tenants will change. 10% of your tenants will change every 5 years. Why? Because there's a 5-year lease. So in that period, people are not performing well. You will try and change them and keep those performing better. New concepts will come, new ideas will come.
until you plan accordingly, like so that's 10% or they measure more for this.
It's not like exactly measured to that, because but I know that around 10% will change every. It's an average 5 years. They will change every year. So they'll change them. Leases come up at different times. You might change them. I might have a space in a mall and I might come and say, I'm going to change my brand to a new brand that I do. So like, Clarks and 361 might come up and say, I also have foreign shop. But I'd like to change Clarks to foreign shop because your customer is more suitable for foreign shop. And then we have to agree to it. It's a finally a decision. Right?
I have one small question from Aisha.
Yes.
So what's the good idea when 360 starts as a brand?
So it was a good idea. I think it was a good idea because we were not luxury, we were a tourist. If you take the customer, show customer a quick. So I ask you a question, do you have luxury? Yeah. Of course, right? 360 mall, in a mall, the common area, which is the area between the shops, is around 25% of the space. 360 is 40%. Right? Because you felt that things don't have to be like pressure that there are people around. So the ladies who come, they must feel relaxed, they must feel their space. I really think it was a good idea. I think it made us more competitive to the avenues. I think we appeal to our core audience, which is these ladies. So I think it will.
So that makes me segue to my question, final question, and I know they asked because they talked about it last time, but I want the guys to hear. Question, Abhi, the chibulis. How much does it cost when somebody breaks one of the chibulis?
$5,000.
$5,000. And they usually have customers or kids throwing stuff at
In the beginning, not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. Why didn't you just close it?
This is something which I was telling our owner because the green wall,
Yeah.
people used to keep pulling the cords.
Yeah.
So it was very impacting. So I told him we put a plexiglass in the.
Yeah.
So he told me you're taking the easy way. Customers must be able to see it in its glory, they must be able to experience the plants. And I asked him why. He said because in Kuwait, somebody has to create this experience for people. So the thinking was a little higher than just shops. So they must create an environment which we can be proud of in Kuwait and Kuwaitis can enjoy.
But guys, you see the idea? It's easy to not add the chibuli. $500,000, I will just save it. It's easy to not add the grass. And if I'm going to add the grass, I can just cover it with plexi so it doesn't. I don't need to maintain it. But by raising the standard, it's reflected by the number that we saw earlier, which is the purchase per square foot is higher, And number two, which is one of the things the owners want to know, they wanted a landmark, which it really is. So, Raphael, you have a list of places to go when you came to Kuwait from France, right? What were one of the top three on the list? Oh, so it's actually Iran's Kuwait Towers. Okay. Thank you for a good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Thank you very much. So anytime anybody really wants to talk or something, we are always